Hello and welcome to the Soon product demo. We're on a few channels here, so I'll try to take questions as they come along. But yeah, if ever you watch this as a recording, the best thing to do is just sign up for the product, start a trial, and you can chat with us directly in our app. But if you have questions right now, just put them in the chat and I'll get to them as soon as possible. And or you can always put comments on wherever you watch this video, and we'll get back to you whenever. Hopefully soon, no pun intended. What we'll do today is we'll first talk a little bit about positioning of Soon, where we stand in the market if you're looking for workforce management software, before we dive into all the features and the product itself. That will at least help you understand what we do as a product, as a company, and if it is the right solution for you. So either way, it will be helpful to cover that first. And then the product demo itself, of course. And at the end, I'll show you a few things that we're currently working on that we'll be releasing in the near future. All right, so kicking off here with, let's see. I'll just share my screen. Very new to this, so okay, here we go. So Soon as a product, let's first talk a little bit about the market, and then we'll get to the demo. So if you're looking for workforce management software, then you might have something like an Excel sheet right now that looks something like this, or you have some kind of enterprise solution that really costs a lot and doesn't look too different from the spreadsheet, as you can see. In our opinion, this is very complicated. It can be powerful, but it might not be the best fit for anyone. So especially if you have a team that doesn't need all kinds of fancy features, then maybe those enterprise solutions aren't the right fit. And in some cases they are. We're also honest about that. And in some cases, a simple spreadsheet, so not as complicated as what you see here, but just a simple spreadsheet can also do the trick. So let's find out, where Soon fits in on what we call the workforce management spectrum. So we like to see this. We don't like those complicated grids. But on one hand, as you saw with the spreadsheet, we think you have the simple solutions or the simple situations. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have the really complicated. And what is simple, what is complex? Of course, that's a little bit difficult to define. But it could be, the team size. So if you have a small team, it's usually easier or more simple. If you're a large team, that's usually more complex. But that can also be small volumes, high volumes. It can be not so many shifts, a lot of changes, all those kinds of things. And last but not least, of course, pricing is also pretty much correlated to the simplicity and the complexity. So if it's simple and you're you can do with a very simple solution, usually cheap, sometimes even free. And if you have a very complex situation, then it's more expensive. Makes sense, hopefully. So a little bit more on this. If you have a, I already mentioned the team size, but also if, for instance, you're a customer support team or customer facing company, then opening hours are important, shift patterns, how often you have changes, and your kind of operations. Now, the thing is with scheduling, and yeah, don't worry about this graph, it's just taken from Wikipedia. But the thing is with a scheduling problem, if you want to, you have a whole bunch of shifts and you need to figure out what is the best solution for my team. Let's say I have 50 people and I have, a whole bunch of shifts that I need to schedule them on. Then the problem there is what we call an NP hard problem. And they seem very easy, like, oh, you can do it with just pen and paper or a spreadsheet. But actually, there are so many permutations, so many different solutions for each of these problems that it is incredibly hard to do that as a human being. So you need a computer, you need an algorithm to solve this. And that's exactly where auto scheduling, or actually constraint programming, comes in. We have built this with our auto scheduler. So if you have a scheduling problem and you need to find the best possible solution, then that pretty much is the only possible way to solve it. Okay, getting back to the spectrum. So where do we stand? Let's have a more practical look. If you have a small team, let's say less than 30 people, this is not a hard line, but it's sort of a rule of thumb that if you have a relatively small team, manual might be okay. But if you are above 30 people in a team, then optimization is pretty much the only way to go. So auto scheduling, what I just mentioned. And again, there are some smaller teams where you already need optimization to get good results. Or if you don't, of course, you don't have to do anything. But then your costs, the time you're spending to find, even a working schedule that is compliant, is probably already more expensive than any solution you might be able to buy on the market. So just keep that in mind. All right, a few insights that we have. The most obvious thing why you would want to buy a workforce management software is to make a schedule. Now, making it costs time. So you could say, okay, if I just hit a button and it produces a schedule for me, then I'm already saving time. And that is usually already covering the cost of the software that you will buy. However, that's not the only thing. It's kind of like the tip of the iceberg. If you buy a just, let's say, any kind of schedule generator out there, and you get suboptimal results, that's actually or I'm saying it the wrong way, sorry. If you do it by hand and you produce suboptimal results, that is actually what's costing you way more money than just purchasing a software or doing it by hand, and that continues into waste, so process waste that you then need to fix. Because if you have a suboptimal schedule, people are going to want to exchange their shifts. It doesn't work. Maybe you're not even compliant. You might get a fine. So all those things, they sort of carry over to the next, and the problems, they grow in size. So that's our first insight. Now, the second thing is, a lot of workforce management software are very difficult to use. You might need some training. Sometimes you see, if you're putting out a job application for a workforce manager, and you say, oh, you need to have experience with product X. That is probably because it is a difficult to use product. And in our opinion, that's not good, because then you always end up with very few people in your organization. Sometimes it's even one person, and that's obviously a single point of failure. If that person leaves, and they always do at some point, then you are screwed. So anyway, and on top of that, we also find that a lot of these products are simply not fun. They are just dated. They're slow. They're clunky. You name it. I'm not gonna badmouth our competitors anymore, but you probably know what I'm talking about. So one more thing is that what workforce management is allocating your resources, your human resources, properly. And we looked up some statistics, and right now, with a lot of knowledge economy companies, salaries make up for, on average, 70% of the operational costs. So getting that right is really the major thing you can do to make sure your company is profitable and doing a good job. So, well, that should say that it is quite important. Okay, so what practical options are there? Of course, Excel, as we already saw. Excel is and can be a pretty good solution. So, of course, you have Google Drive, Google Sheets, pretty much the same thing. A spreadsheet. like I said, it is sometimes just a pretty good, it's free, or you're already paying for it with some other stuff you're using. So sometimes it's really fine to just start out, and about 80% of our new users who try out Soon are currently using some kind of spreadsheet. So it's always a good starting point to sort of get your operations visual. It's perfectly fine. And sometimes it's enough to stay there. Now, there's also, if you use Microsoft Teams, there's something called Microsoft Shifts. Not bad. It's there, right there in Microsoft Teams. It's free, so, or part of the package. So also pretty straightforward, simple to use, a little bit better than a spreadsheet, we would say, because you have something that is dedicated for scheduling. So also not a bad option. If that works for you, then do it. But again, there's very much limitations. There's no auto scheduling. There's a lot of other things that you don't have. Funnily enough, there's not even a Outlook calendar integration, which we do have. So enough about that. Then on the complex side, there are so many. I won't be able to list them all, but I think some of the large enterprise and expensive products out there that are powerful, but again, sometimes a little bit dated. They're expensive and they're complicated to use. So go to Capterra and G2. That's what I'm trying to say, if you want to see those. Where does that leave Soon? Well, we are right here in the middle. So not too complicated, not too simplistic, just right for the right kind of teams. And of course, pricing wise, we're also right in the middle. It's not free, but it's also not very expensive. So we try to maximize the value for money, or the bang for buck. All right, so we call this the Goldilocks zone. If you're not familiar with the story of some girl who was doing a home invasion on some bears, this is another analogy. With planets, not too hot, not too cold, just right. So you see where we are with Earth. That's what we're looking for. We want all the conditions to be just right for life, basically. So Goldilocks zone, right in the middle of the happy place. All right, and to summarize the highlights of Soon, we always try, and this is an ongoing mission statement, try to keep everything, every single feature that we have, that we release, easy to understand so that anyone on the team can use it, can understand it. At the same time, we don't want it to be so simple that it is, basically, the same as a spreadsheet. So it has to be powerful, and we try to make it fun to use, because attention spans are short. And by doing this, especially by making it easy to understand and powerful, we try to increase the number of people in your organization that really know how to use Soon. And we believe that it's very important to have consistency in your operations. All right, so pricing, let's also talk about that, because at the end of the day, it's not free. We do have a free trial, 30 days, so do, of course, try it out. But our pricing is basically in 3 standard tiers, pretty straightforward as well. If you don't need the most intense features or don't have the most complex requirements from a business perspective, we have our team plan, we have our business plan, which is pretty much full feature, and then we have enterprise. If you have a legal department, IT department, compliance department, who want to ask us a bunch of questions and make us fill out forms and all that kind of stuff, you want single sign-on, then enterprise is the right fit for you. But they pretty much go up in price if you want more features, etc. Check out our website. There you can see it. It's pretty straightforward. And we are also on the Microsoft Azure Marketplace and App Source. So if you want to go through that, if that sounds familiar to you, then please feel free to purchase Soon over there. Okay, one more thing. There's another dimension, sort of, that we think about a spectrum, if you will, for workforce management. On one hand, you have the camp of automation, and on the other hand, you have self-scheduling. And in the middle, there's manual, where you are just basically creating the schedule. So self-scheduling, you leave it up to your team. A lot of freedom and responsibility for your team, which is great. However, you might not get the optimal result, and it also requires some. You're asking your team to be actively part of the process, which isn't always working out in practice. And on the automated side of things, it could be, the algorithm is deciding for us. So this seems to be completely opposite things, but we have developed a method that we call the Soon method. You can read more on our website, but basically it stands for standard, open, optimized, and natural. So on our website, you can see more about it, but it's basically a hybrid between the self-scheduling and the automation, where you first give people the option to choose the shifts that work for them, so they kind of fill up part of the schedule. And then at some point in time, 3 weeks out or so, you say, okay, now everyone has had a week or two to pick the shifts that work for them personally. And if you don't do anything, also fine, then you would just get scheduled by the auto scheduler. And we think that is really sort of the pinnacle of scheduling for a lot of teams. Sometimes you only need one or the other, but yeah, it's there. We can always have a call to discuss it, or you can just try it out yourself. Right. Now, that was a lot, but hopefully it gives you a good idea of where Soon stands in the market. And now let's start with the fun part. We will take a look at the product. Okay, so Soon. Let me start by the end result that we want to achieve. So here I have a scheduling board. So as you can see, if this is the first time that you see Soon, might be a little bit different than how most products look like. We have these cards on the board, and you see who's working. You can have people with different roles. You see this the week. So our card here, we call them events. Those basically represent the shift. So here we have a morning and an afternoon shift, different people on it. And scheduling in Soon basically happens on two different levels. So we have the scheduling of putting people on the shifts. So the shifts are kind of the business requirement. How many people do we need on each shift, and how many or what kind of roles do these people have on the shift? So again, here you see agent, team lead. You can make this however you want, whatever makes sense for your situation. But once we have people scheduled, you can also go one level deeper. So intraday scheduling, which you see here. So here you can basically tell people, communicate to your team, like, hey, this is what you should be focusing on right now at this time of your shift. So for instance, here we have a customer support example. Here I want Dominique to start on the phone, and then there's a break, and then tickets in the afternoon. So this is kind of the end result that we want to achieve. And this, by the way, also integrates with Google and Outlook Calendar, so that people are always up to date on what they should be doing. And you can even have notifications, if you find that helpful, to remind you of, like, hey, this time, you should be switching your tasks to do this other thing. There's a whole bunch of other things that I won't get into too many details, but you can schedule according to the peaks. You can add required. Recently made it super easy to just drop in. Basically, if you've calculated the stuffing requirements elsewhere, you have that in a spreadsheet. You just need to have the start time and the number of people that you have for any kind of activity. These you also it's fully customizable, so you just add the activities that you have as a team, and then you basically draw this line so you can make sure that you have enough people to cover all the workloads. Now, with this being the end result, you might wonder, like, okay, but what about all this auto scheduling that you mentioned? How is that easy? Well, let me start with a blank screen. So just a second, let me grab okay. So here we have another board. So you see kind of similar setup, morning, afternoon, night. So here we have a 24/7 schedule setup. It goes on for the next few weeks. You can adjust the people that you require. So here, if you have different people, etc., for different shifts, different times of the day. So this is the first step that we do. Basically, put down all the shifts that we need to fill, and then here in the bottom we start the auto scheduler. So you set the period, can be several weeks in a go. You can choose your goal. So if you want to maximize hours, balance the hours, or optimize for costs. So that will give you different results based on what you're trying to achieve. Then you can select all the different shifts. So you can go next week, take a bunch of them out. But let's just take them all, 60 shifts over the next few weeks. Here, my whole team, I just do all the users. And now the constraints. So the constraints are basically the rules that you want the auto scheduler to follow. If there is something like, for instance, here you see max hours for these people, for 11 people are not set, then I can always adjust it. So I can say, hey, okay, for this month, this person needs to work 180 hours. I can set it. So Soon will always remind you. So this is the part where I mentioned where it is like, hey, we're trying to make it easy to understand. This is exactly that we will prompt you at the right time if something needs your attention for Soon to function properly. This is a real good case in point of UX that will let you do that. So anyway, getting back to the main goal here, you can choose what's important to you. So if I want to make sure people don't work too many hours every week or per day, I turn those on, and let's not go for monthly right now. Can do the same for minimum working days. If some people don't work weekends or Wednesdays, whatever, you can add this to your user profile. Roles, of course, should be matching so that if you have team leads, managers, operation coordinators, only the people who can fulfill those roles will be put on those roles. Leave, basically paid time off. Well, all of this hopefully makes sense. So all I have to do now is start the solver. So as you can see, this will basically fill 455 different shifts, if you will, different seats. And as you can see, I actually have, with my current set of rules, I was only able to fill so many. So then I can go and see, okay, this is already in the past, so it doesn't schedule anyone there. But now I can review the schedule, and I could probably see what's wrong. There might not be anyone with the role called Team C, so that might have is why there's a lot of seats that were not filled. But as you can see in this step, I can say, hey, okay, I like this. I can just save it, or I can discard it and start over, or I can start over and adjust my constraints. And then, so for instance, if I do role match, no, let's see. It can also be that I don't have enough people on this particular board. Maybe that's the case, because now it should fill everything. Or there are just not enough people to fill out a 24/7 schedule. So as you can see, it has a lot of different rules to consider. And if you have enough people, that will make sure that you get the optimized schedule for your team. So anyway, that's how the auto scheduler works. There's a lot more in Soon to discover. I won't go into too many details on all the bells and whistles, but basically anything like leave requirements, it's there. So we can make different categories so that people can ask these to you as a manager. Every person also has their own My Schedule, so that's where you can find your personal schedule. I don't have so many in this account right now, but yeah, basically that's it. I highly encourage you to just sign up for the trial. Then you go through everything, and in 5 minutes, that's kind of our promise, you will see if Soon is the right fit for you. You will at least have a schedule up and running within 5 minutes. And the reason why is, well, let's go over to the next session, the next section of this demo, which is something we're currently working on. And of course, the new shiny things are always the most exciting. But let me show you. We have something that we call text to schedule. So what this is basically a prompt generator. So you can see here a lot of examples. All right, so here, as you can see, I can just describe basically in my in this generator. I can try a few different examples. Oh, we're still working on it, as you can see. But yeah, we're about to release this in the next few days. So if, for instance, I have a police station with 25 cops that need to work 24/7 to patrol and man the station. Yeah, let's just go for that. And then I will hit generate, and then it will basically send this, do some AI magic, and then give me a result. So as you can see, I didn't give a lot of details. I just wrote one sentence and then see what comes back. This is also a surprise for us. So I haven't planned this. So let's see if this goes well in a demo. It's thinking really hard right now. Let's wait a second. The loader, as you can see, work in progress is, well, it's here. It's you can see. Maybe I didn't give enough details. I don't know. Then I can also follow the guide or give more details. Might be faster. To be honest, this is quite exceptionally slow. And typical demo, it didn't work. Okay, let's start with something else. At least you know it's real. This is a real work in progress. Well, I'll show you a few other things. Then we can add a morning shift. Okay, so here I'm fully describing what needs to happen. So I'm saying, okay, I have a shift that starts at 8 in the morning till 4:30. Do I want to add roles? Okay, roles required is, well, you know what? I don't like that it's this specific. So I'll say roles, manager and freelancers. One manager and 10 freelancers. My team has 30, 40 people, and we work Monday to Friday. Let's see. Could even make some typos, doesn't matter. It will sort of make the most of what information you give it. I hope this will go better, otherwise it's a real bummer. Okay, so, oh yeah, I gave it only that first shift, right? So I don't like that. And here you see some more work in progress, some hard-coded stuff. So let's say I have 3 shifts. We have 1 manager and 10 freelancers. My team is 40 people. Total work Monday to Friday. Yeah, okay, got it. Let's see what this gives us. Fun mode, let's try. Fun mode. So, but anyway, the most exciting thing about this is actually, let me tell you about the reason why we are making this. We noticed that one of the things people find the hardest when, trying any new kind of product is understanding, okay, how do I get this schedule? This generates the templates. We have sort of standard templates that you can use. But of course, those are just predefined by us. And actually, if you just sign up for it, or if you just describe your own situation right here in this thing, which is kind of what we do if we onboard people, sort of by holding their hand, white glove onboarding service, then we will be asking you a bunch of questions, and it just comes down to describe your situation to us, and then we will make a schedule. Wow, I think it might be that there's something with the fun mode. So it's not great with a live demo, but it's real. Let me just do something outrageous. I have 50 folks that work on my farm. Stable hands. I've never worked on a farm, so I don't know if this is correct. Stable hands. What else? Planters and milkmaids. Schedule them all 6 days of the week. Sunday we are free for to go to church, So yeah, let's see if this works. I think it is because we are actively working on this right now, and that was not the best thing to do to give a live demo while we are still tweaking this, because I'm on a development branch. But I wanted to show you because it's always fun to see the new stuff that's about to come out. Yeah. Let's see if there are some questions, by the way. I have been very... Oh, look at this. Okay, I'm glad something finally worked. So, and by the way, you get this this summary of what it generated. So you see, okay, 3 different shifts, stable management, dairy tasks for the milkmaids. Yeah, pretty good. Listen quite well. No self-scheduling. No, of course not. We need to, just tell these people what to do. Oh, and fun fact, you can see here we have, I like this. You can see, okay, there's the barn. So in Soon, you can also add locations to the different shifts. So you see in the morning, people have to work in the barn. These people, the planters, have to work in the fields. And in the dairy facility, that's where the milkmaids work. So I hope I don't get canceled. If I have no idea if this is anti-woke or if this is, to call them milkmaids, if that is not okay in this day and age. But anyway, so this is basically how this works. You see, Sunday is off, and we have basically a starting point to start our auto scheduler, which I just showed you, and then you go over the next steps, similar as what we did. Clearly, not enough people on this team to work a whole farm, but yeah, that's it. So now the best thing you can do is, if you want to try this out for yourself, well, just wait a day or two and then it will be live. So if you're watching a replay of this session, then it will be live already. But if you would just want to try Soon, see how it works in your team, you can embed Soon also in WebEx. So that looks really nice, if I can be biased. Or if you use Microsoft Teams, you can also add Soon to your Microsoft Teams. Or of course, any browser out there you can use Soon on. You can also use Soon on mobile if you want. There's email notifications, all kinds of other stuff. So you can always use Soon on the go. It is pretty great. And yeah, last but not least, if you have any questions, if you need our help, we are here in the product. So we live here. Basically, you can ask us a question and then, okay, it doesn't work on this development branch, but if you click here, a nice chat window will pop up and then you can talk to me directly or one of my colleagues. So thank you very much for watching this, and I will talk to you soon.